Hi there, folks, and welcome to Last Man Standing. I'm Dan Hollifield. Tonight I have with me Bill Sarton, and we are just getting off a really good stupid o'clock tonight.
We learned about corn.
And a lot of other things besides. Unfortunately, no one else besides Bill and myself from Stupid O'Clock has been able to transition over to the later night show that we happen to be at the moment. This is not a condemnation or any kind of a complaint. Everybody's got their own schedules they have to live within, and that's perfectly fine. We are
They
just
just don't
happy
know how to
to.
read a map.
Well, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. Um, we're let's see. Should we just start with a brand new topic or try and pick up something we were talking about before? I mean, um, it was
Well, I
said
had a
also that we
birthday that yeah, I had a birthday that I was going to mention while Stephanie was still in there, and then we got kind of say sidetracked, derailed, whatever. We got talking about corn, so
oh,
I
okay.
just left it. But maybe you might know who this is, Robert Hofstadter.
It does
Uh,
sound familiar.
he was a Nobel. It is his birthday today. He was a Nobel Prize winning physicist, born in 1915 in New York City. And he is best known for his research on the nucleus of the atom.
Okay.
And he was the son of a salesman and attended the City College of New York. And Hofstadter wanted to major in literature and philosophy until a physics professor told him the laws of physics could be tested and those of philosophy could not. So
That's a very philosophical point there. Yeah.
yeah, so you see what direction he went.
Hmm.
And but anyway, so he from that point, he won the Kenyon Prize for outstanding work in physics and mathematics in 1935. And then he went on to measure the precise size and shape of the proton and neutron, the particles of the nucleus,
Yep.
and that thus winning the Nobel Prize on December 10th, 1961. Um, for for presenting the first reasonably accurate picture of the structure and composition of atomic neutrons and protons. And Hofstadter, and I apologize for, I'm sure, mispronouncing his last name, um, but anyway, his discoveries played an important role in medicine, astronomy, military defense, and of course, many other fields in that. So,
Yes, indeed. And I believe his name is pronounced as the same as one of the generals that was on
Hogan's
um,
Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes. Yes, Hofstadter. Yes, Colonel
Hofstadter. Okay.
Hofstadter. That's
Yeah.
the way it looked to me. But I could be wrong.
Hogan.
I could be wrong, and I've got no problem with being corrected. Peter. Oh wow. Yeah. Thank you, Peter. I had no idea you stayed up this late. You're a respectable person. What are you doing awake? Oh, um, Peter Beerslayer is one of our friends from LibertyCon and Anacrocon, actually. Um, very nice gentleman, very tall gentleman, and working on convention prep. Yeah, yeah, I would believe it. I would believe it. Well, if you want to give us a few moments of your time, I can send you a link. But if not, just keep on working and listen to us blather on for a while. Uh, we do that so well. Blather is my business. Um, and actually, Bill has an
Like
art. Bill has an art degree in blathering as well. So
blather, rinse, and repeat. That's
yeah.
what they always say.
Oh, going to Steampunk Expo. I wish I was, but unfortunately, that's not one that my wife and I have been able to um, decide to attend yet. Even though um, it's Captain Bill's show, and it would be absolutely wonderful. And maybe we will be able to attend on a future date. Let's see. Oh, Conuga next in 2 weeks, and you're running an entire track on Conuga. That well, you're a busy guy. Yeah, I know. Um, it's still going to be a lot of fun. It's still a little too damn cold for me, but
Now, what is Conuga? That one has
it
slipped by me.
it is a convention in Chattanooga.
Hmm.
Basically, for you can kind of tell from the way the name got
Right.
portmanteau there, and it is not exactly science fiction, not exactly steampunk, not exactly fantasy. It's more of a general fandom convention. Thank you, Peter. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
So
a convention.
anything and everything. Sky's the
Yep.
limit.
And it's not huge. It's not tiny. It's mid-sized. So that's always good for people to know. Um,
Is it four doors or two doors?
three.
Three? Four
Yeah.
cylinder, six cylinder? Oh.
Five. Uh,
Now, I had my first car was a three door because it was a 1974 Pinto hatchback, and they actually considered that. No, they did. You can look it up. They considered a 74 Pinto Runabout, which was the actual name of it, but it was a hatchback. The hatchback was the third door.
You had to very scrupulously stay away from Chevy Vegas, though.
Well, yeah, they didn't run so well, but the
They
74
blew up
was,
really well if you hit them in the back. Yeah.
well, 74 Ford Pintos was the year of the famous exploding gas tank.
Well, that's what they get for hanging it off the back
Yeah,
bumper.
and fortunately, I bought mine used, and it had already been part of the recall and repaired. And the person that I bought it from says, "Yes, here's the thing showing that it was repaired from the recall, so you no longer have a exploding gas tank." I'm like, "Oh, that's good to know."
Yeah, really. That'll help on the insurance policy quite a bit, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Just don't paint a target on the back of it and drive slow.
Oh man. Well, I had a '74 Maverick as well.
Oh, those were good cars, though.
They were well, actually the Pinto and the Maverick both had a 200 engine under the hood, which we used to take the Maverick up from Danville because this would have been my driving age, going up to Chicago to Wrigley Field to the Cub games. This was back when you could drive, park at Wrigley Field, ride the L trains all over Chicago,
Hmm.
and there, of course, Wrigley Field at this time it was pre 1988, so they didn't have any uh, lights at Wrigley Field, so all the games were day games,
Yeah.
and
Hard to play
I
baseball by candlelight.
oh well, sometimes it got pretty dark early, but it was later in the season. But no, most of the games started at 1:20. And usually by supper time, you were headed back home for a 3 hour trip. But when we would get there about 10:30 in the morning, of course, had time to kill before the game would start. And like I said, we would ride the L trains on the elevated tracks all everywhere. We would go down to a place that you would have loved, Dan, called Wax Tracks Records and Collectibles.
I have heard of that. Yes, indeed.
Oh, yeah, TRAXX, Wax Tracks. And I purchased my first Beatles collectible there, the small bobbing head Beatles. They had a whole set of all 4 Beatles. There was a larger set and a smaller set, and I got the smaller set. Unfortunately loose, but I paid $40. This would have been back around 1979, 1980.
So $40 was a lot of money.
$40 was a lot of money, you know, $10 for a little bobbing head figure, but you know, they were the Beatles.
That's like about 5 or 6 hours pay.
I sold those same figures about 25 years ago for almost 8 times that amount.
Well, good on you.
Loose figures, yeah. But they had everything. They had everything in there as far as record albums go. I remember buying a box of alphabet cereal, which the cereal was no longer in it, but you were buying the empty box, and on the back of the box was the cutout cardboard record of either the Monkees, the Jackson 5, or Bobby Sherman, or the Archies.
Okay, now I see the point in buying the empty box. Yes.
Right. Yep. Now, if it was full, it would have been worth even more, but I remember paying $7 for the box back then, and the one that I got had the Jackson 5. I think there were like 2 or 3 songs. It was almost like a cardboard EP.
Yeah.
More than anything, there was 2 or 3 songs on there. I think it was "I Want You Back," "Mama's Pearls," and maybe ABC, something like that.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking "One Bad Apple" would probably be on there, but
that's Osmond's.
Yeah. Well, actually, they traded off. The Jacksons did one song, the Osmonds did another song, and then all of a sudden they swapped songs.
And when their cartoons were out in the early 70s,
exactly, yes,
they were out at the same time on Saturday morning, but on opposite networks. Both cartoons were made by Rankin Bass, so they knew what they were doing. And my brother loved the Osmond Brothers, and he always wanted to watch it. I love the Jackson 5, so you can imagine the fights we had on Saturday mornings because we had one TV.
Yeah.
19-inch Quasar.
My wife has been a fan of both bands for a long time, but I'm sure that if she had the choice, the Osmond Brothers cartoon would have won out over the Jackson 5 cartoon. She was not aware that back in the 60s or early 70s, somebody did a Beatles cartoon. And she's English.
Yeah, in the 60s. Yeah.
She was not aware that this was ever made. So obviously it was not shown on British television. I got to watch it about the same time as Cool McCool and a few other things like that were on. But it was a hoot. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, they came out either in late, I want to say either fall 64 or 65, and I'm wanting to say 65. But they went for quite a while, and they were a hoot. I play them every once in a while on the Every Day is Saturday group, the cartoon group, which today I did a bunch of early 70s stuff. Tomorrow I'm going to do all Charlie Brown.
Okay.
None of the, well, I will be playing a week from Monday. I will be playing the Valentine Charlie Brown one.
Okay.
And I got the Easter Beagle all lined up for Easter, and but on my artwork channel, I guess since I'm plugging now, I
Hey,
didn't mean to do that, but
hey, go ahead and pull a Brian K. Morris. See what I care.
well, doing a Super Bowl Sunday thing, or well, yeah, Brian K. Morris or Ryan Permison,
Well,
but Ryan would be doing plugging other people, not himself. But
well. Hashtag
um,
always promote.
yep. But no, I figured, what do I want to do for Super Bowl? And the I'm gonna the poster or the poster the the post that I'm gonna have for the my sketch for the day, which I normally don't do Sundays, but being Super Bowl, I did one last year of Green Bay Packers helmet. I
Okay.
just want to rub it in because they got beat in the first round this year, but
It's a football game. Nobody knows who's going to win till the last second.
right. But they won the very first Super Bowl, so nobody can take that away from them.
Hey,
Yeah, but so anyway, I'm going to put that in there. But I'm, he's talking about doing movies and stuff, and I told you that I've done the Monkeys movie Head on
hmm
my artwork channel. Um, I'm doing a Super Bowl double feature movie, and
um, okay, Peter. Um, the drink in the glass is Irish Mist, which is a honey liqueur. It's basically an Irish whiskey with a whole lot of honey. It's basically a mead recipe, but it's commercial. Um, I really, really love it, and I have since the 1970s when I was first introduced to it back in college. Um, I rarely buy it because I am tempted to drink an entire bottle in a couple of nights. But here recently, I've been able to make a quart last 3 to 4 weeks because I'm not dipping into it constantly, and I'm not at a party or anything. I'm just at home. So it's really nice. It's really sweet. It's not incredibly strong, but it's a pleasant alternative to some of the really high powered stuff that I run across from time to time. I do need to go and get another bottle of Bushmills or Tullamore Dew, which are two of my absolute favorite Irish whiskeys. But those are not sweet; those are full power. But I got my wife a bottle of a little. I got her a pint of Jameson's so that she would have something for a nightcap for when she goes to bed because she's been recently just all day, everything that she's got to go through, all the trials and tribulations and frustrations and everything. And then one nice little mixed drink, whiskey and soda or whatnot, just before bedtime. And she's been really enjoying that here lately. So I'm going to have to get her another pint here when she runs through that one. But she asked for Jameson's by name. It's not my favorite Irish whiskey, but it's a perfectly respectably good one. So these things, it's just part of life. Uh, it's a whole lot better than having to depend on uh, pharmaceutical sleeping pills or over the counter or uh, sleeping aids like I sometimes have to resort to on Sunday nights when I know I've got to get up early and go to work on Monday morning. Um, and there's been some reason that I was not able to go to sleep at a reasonable hour on a Sunday night. I hate taking sleep aids, but every once in a while they become necessary. Nicotine, yeah, nicotine and booze is much cheaper than therapy. Yeah, but nicotine and booze often lead to an increased need for therapy. Let
Yeah,
me say.
kill
Um,
you quicker.
yeah, well, but what a ride! What a ride! Um,
I never could when I was on 7 Day Swing. I never could take any type of sleep aids to help me through the day. As hard as it was for me to sleep during the day, I know the time or two that I took some Dimetap or something similar, I was just in la la land when I woke up, and all that night at work, and I dreaded it. I felt all night long like how I usually felt about the last hour of work.
mhm.
And boys and girls, I'm here to tell you that is no fun. So I either slept or I didn't sleep, or I just closed my eyes, and my dad would say, I'm resting my eyes.
Yeah, I'm conscious, but I'm snoring. Okay, get over it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dad would be snoring, and he'd say, I'm not snoring. I was meditating.
I'm
Like,
watching that. Don't change the channel.
yeah, like, yeah, Dad, that snoring is your mantra, huh? You got, instead of going, you're going,
Om mani padme.
yeah.
Yeah, it works. It works. Everybody get a different way of approaching life. No, for me, it's like uh, Tylenol PMs or something. I'm not gonna go get a prescription for something heavy duty. I'll just buy, the normal stuff. Um, there are a couple of things that are just uh, sleep aids, but they're still over the counter, and
Hmm.
I can't remember the brand names, but my with my level of arthritis, Tylenol PM or whichever your favorite anti-inflammatory, anti pain OTC thing is that actually happens to have a nighttime sleep formula. Um, those work for me. I'll take a couple of those. Like I said, late Sunday night and go to bed, and the alarm clock goes off at 6 a.m. and I go, what? Oh, okay. I've got to be functional now. Um, where's my coffee? And that's about it. That's the entire thing. I do get a good night's sleep. It doesn't matter whether it's 10 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, or 3 hours. It's still a good night's sleep. The shorter the sleep period, the harder it is to overcome the after effects of the OTC sleep aid. Because, they have a definite time limit. And if I undercut that time limit of how much you're supposed to be able to sleep, then I've got to get to work and drink a whole lot more coffee than I'm supposed to. Uh, and my blood pressure shows it from time to time, but I'm 64 years old. I'm 24 months away from retirement. Just give me the next 2 years and everything. I'll be able to sleep all day and stay awake all night and write 17 books a week or whatever it is that people do when they're retired. Um,
Well, I don't know. You want to be busy when you're retired, because if you don't, I think you go nuts. I know there was a manager of mine that I used to work for when I worked at Lowe's Home Improvement, after I left, went to Menards, he retired 2 years later. And I would see him come into Menards every day and just walk around.
Like
And
he
I'm
was
like, oh,
inspecting the store.
no, he just like he had nothing to do. Hi, Mike, how you doing? What can I help you with today? Because that's what you're supposed to say to a customer,
Mhm.
even though if it used to be one of your bosses at former employment. And he goes, no, I'm just looking around, and I could just tell. I'm like, this guy literally has nothing to do now. He worked all his life, how many various jobs that he's had, and now he has earned his retirement. And it's like, now what? So you, even after you retire, which I know you have a plan, but I think everybody should have, to some degree, a plan of what they're going to do. I was forced into retirement when my knees went south on me, and I ended up going on disability. And uh, you know, it one of those situations that I was in the throes of doing this artwork jazz again. And I guess it was a lucky thing that I was, because it's like I'd be doing what Mike did. I'd be wandering around the store half the day.
Well, don't put your artwork down. I mean, you're really really good.
Oh, I'm not putting it down or anything. I'm just saying that if I didn't have that to fall back on for
Yeah.
now, I, you know, um, and of course, where I live right now, I can't have a garden. Everything that I have has to be in pots outside during the summertime and that. But um,
And half the year the lakes are frozen, so you can't go fishing without a snowmobile.
well, I haven't gone fishing since my brother passed away, because I've
Oh,
never gone fishing to. Well, I don't eat fish, but I
oh,
used to love to go fishing just to do it. And I would, if I was by myself, it was always catch and release.
mhm.
If I
Nothing
was
wrong with
with
that.
if I was with my brother or somebody else, if it was worth keeping, I would say, "Hey, you want this 25-pound catfish?" Oh yeah, no, nothing like that. But anyway, yeah, I would give it away, because it was just a form of relaxation to me,
Yeah,
because I
exactly,
was
exactly.
so knotted up in nerves from work, and that I had to have something to do, not to do it. And when you go from one extreme to the other, um, that's not good.
Yeah, when you're busy all the time at work, and then you wind up mm, retired from that job, and your body still wants to be busy.
Hmm.
Uh, that can lead you to all kinds of coping behaviors, um, and some of those are not healthy.
No,
Bless you,
not at all.
bless you.
Oh,
Um,
good night, Peter. I didn't see his post
oh,
there.
let me
He
do
was
that. Yeah. Okay. Good night, Peter. And hey, don't be a stranger. I mean, seriously, you're one of our best friends from the convention circuit. Please do come back and comment or pop into the show whenever, if you're suffering from insomnia, like most of us do when we reach a certain age. Yeah. Uh, no, my big plan for retiring is I'm going to do my best to write all the stories that are inside my head,
hmm
and I'm going to do as many of these streaming shows as I can. Lindsay and I want to add um, a wintertime convention. We've already got LibertyCon as a summertime convention. Uh,
hmm
well, no. a springtime convention. We've already got LibertyCon as a summertime convention. She wants to start going to Hallowcon as a fall convention, and then something else in the winter. So we might eventually wind up going to Atlanta Steampunk Expo, which is, as Peter said, this weekend, a February convention, and then something else in the springtime. Um, LibertyCon in the summer, Hallowcon in the fall. Just just what we can afford, but just to get us out of the house. Um, there's only so many times you can go to the grocery store, before it gets boring. There's only so much gardening you can do before it gets boring. Although we will be doing, I will be putting our greenhouse together here in the next few weeks if we get a 2 week long spring in Georgia between God it's too cold and God it's too hot.
That's about how it is up here.
Mhm. Last year it was like 48 hours between. It's 30 below. Oh no, it's 90 degrees. That was one weekend. That was our spring. Um, and fall was even shorter. It was only about 12 hours. It's, hey, this is nice. Oh, now I got to get out the overcoat and the long johns. Um, we live in a place where weather is weird. It's
This
not
is
so.
what I got for Tuesday. I had to buy a new pair of thermals. I tell
Hey,
you, this brand, this Wordy 2-piece thermal underwear set, I did actually try them on to make sure that they fit, but they are wonderful. They are just as professional and rugged as a pair of Carhartt's thermal underwear, but at half the price.
yes. The
They,
only thing cheaper would be going to Sportsman's Guide catalog and buying um, World War II Russian Army surplus thermals,
mm,
and those come in two sizes: way too small and way too big.
sounds like the Union suit I used to wear when I
Hmm.
was doing Civil War reenacting. And believe you me, I didn't want to buy, you can buy thermal Union suits, but I did not want to go that route again.
Did
Not,
those have the trap door in the seat?
yes, they did.
I do
And
not. I do not, for the life of me, understand how you can put up with that.
well, the thing is, I had this thing that the trap door just wasn't enough to me. I guess I was, no pun intended, being anal about it, or being too much like Monk, you know,
Oh,
and that would have bothered me horribly. Uh, and so when I had to do such things, I basically had to take my muslin shirt off, my wool vest off, my wool uh, uh, frock coat, whatever else I was wearing over that, and then pull the
and
upper part of the Union suit down.
peel everything down below the
Yeah.
waist. Yeah. Uh,
And boys and girls, that wasn't no fun either.
oh no, especially not when you're primitive camping in a wintertime campground.
Oh, geez.
Um,
We
yeah,
did do a winter, it would have been this weekend. We used to do a winter reenactment. We just called it the Winter Battle at Billy Creek Village in Rockville, Indiana, and it was always on Super Bowl weekend. So you come in on Friday, get everything set up, there were sutlers there that you could buy articles of clothing and everything else off of. And the people at the village had where they would bring you bales of straw and firewood, and
Hmm.
that was part of the charge to get into it, to get all this, which was more than worth it. And we would have a Saturday battle, Saturday night cotillion, and then Sunday morning service at the Baptist church, because they had a Baptist uh, turn of the century Baptist church and Catholic church in the village. And then after that, we would have the Sunday battle, and then everybody could pack up. It would be early enough you could technically, if you didn't live 8 hours away or 10 hours away, you could technically get all packed up and head back
Well,
home and still be able to watch the Super Bowl on Sunday night. And we thought nobody's going to come to this. And the first year we had 50 people, 50 reenactors, plus the settlers and the people that were at the village. And they have a general store and a whole bunch of buildings in the village down there. And of course, they had a blacksmith shop because I've talked to you about buying our cooking irons from them.
yep, yep.
And but yeah, it's a turn of the century village, and it has three original old covered bridges that are part of the village as well. But
Now I've got to ask you,
mhm.
were the two different battles, were they reenacting a specific Civil War battle, or were they just, hey, this is what it would have looked like, fill in the blank here or there? Was there
Well,
was there
they
something that
called it the Battle of Billy Creek, but some said that they were based on a certain battle in southern Indiana. But when we did more research on it, we thought, no, this is nothing like it. So it was just basically a made up battle.
okay? Well, that was my question. Now, you can have generic battles,
Hmm.
and you can have, this is the day, this is the time, this is the way, everything's going to be going the way history said. This team moved this way, this team moved this way.
Hmm.
This army won, this army lost, but we're going to replay it our way. I mean, um, there's a difference between the spirit of historical reenactment and the mechanical historical reenactment, where everything goes according to what was recorded actually happened on that day, on that year,
And
at
nine,
that place.
right. And 99% of the reenactments that we did were exactly like that. Um, if they
Oh,
didn't
Carol.
happen that way, that would be somebody's mess up. But
Yeah.
she,
Friend of mine from the Larry Niven mailing list, Carol Phillips. She is a wonderful lady who you definitely do not want to mess with because she studies martial arts. And I'm so happy that you had your children in a warm climate where she didn't have to take off several layers of clothing and or offer babies to change a diaper. I'm sure I didn't read that word for word the way you typed it, Carol, but I understand completely. Yes.
well,
Uh,
well, those gis, those karate gis, there's not much to that clothing anyway. So,
well, I mean, still, her sentiment was she was glad she was born in an era where she didn't have to undo lots and lots of layers to either give birth or change the baby's diaper. So yeah. Um, Let me step over here to the beer fridge. Just give me 3 steps and I'll be right back. I'm not even going to close the camera off. And
Q Leonard Skinner.
exactly. Although uh, I I have not been messing with anybody named Linda Lowe. I hand
Yep.
to God, I have never messed with any woman named Linda Lou.
I was going to say,
But
what's Lindsay's middle name?
Carol,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Sorry, just remembering how happy I am to be married to the woman I'm married to. It's been a wonderful life, and I'm hoping it will continue for Lord knows many more decades. I hope I'll be at least 250 before I ever have to live without her. Uh,
Hmm.
I'll be right back. I promise. Yes,
Yep.
Carol, I got to get my beer.
She's saying,
It's
get your
one of
beer.
those things.
So, Carol, while Dan's getting his beer, I studied martial arts back in the late 70s, early 80s. And one of the things that we had to wear with our uniform were tabby socks and tabby boots, which I'm wondering if you know what those are and if you ever had to wear them. And
No.
to give you a little hint, they had a split toe design in the boot and the sock.
So you had something for your big toe, and then the rest of your toes were in one little
Hmm.
mitten-like arrangement.
Yeah, it was kind of like a mitten for your foot,
Okay. Yeah.
but they was called a tabby boot or a
Oh
tabby
yeah.
sock.
Yeah. Uh,
TABI.
and that is actually Asian.
Hmm.
They
Japanese.
okay. I
Hmm.
wasn't sure exactly which country, but yeah. Let me say this to Carol here. Carol, we had the monthly Larry Niven chat today, and you were missed. Larry came in about an hour or two after we started, and we had talked about lots and lots of stuff. He's got a new story coming out. Uh, do believe it is co-written with Stephen Barnes. It's going to be in analog here in the next uh, month or two. It's called Sacred Cow. Look for it in analog. And he's got other stuff that's in the works right now. Um, Carol and I have been in the uh, Larry Niven mailing list, which is an email list for Niven fans, for okay, since about I have been a member of it since about 1995, and Carol was there when I got there, and I'm not saying anything, but oh, okay, yeah, for 30 years, yes, I was not gonna go there, but since you did, yes, and there we go. She studied Korean martial arts, Kung Fu Guan, and while she's
Okay.
used finger shoes, the tabby, she probably not used the shoes that you were talking about. And yes, she will need to check out analog. Yeah, because Larry is not a spring chicken now, and he's not turning out as many stories as he used to. But he and Stephen Barnes wrote this one together, as I understand. And there are a couple of more things in the works that he was not free to mention. And oh, yeah, been an Even fan since you were a teen. So have I. Unfortunately, my teens were in the 1970s. So uh, I didn't discover Larry Niven's work until I went to college in 1976. And he had already been writing for several years by that time. Uh, Carol met Larry when she was 21. And I met him at a a convention in Chattanooga. Um, let's see, I was probably in my 40s at the time, and then I met him again about 10 or 15 years later at the same um, convention, but several years later. Um, what can I say? Larry's a nice guy. Um, he's always got time for his fans. He is willing to sign autographs at the drop of a hat, and he's just he's a class act all the way through. That's that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was a teen in the 70s as well. I'm surprised I've never heard of him till I've heard you and Sean Sullivan talk about him.
well, it depends on what you like to read. Don't get as much gossip as you used to.
Hmm.
Um, Carol, I was born in 1957, so I'm not willing to say which one of us has more seniority.
Hmm.
And if it's you, don't feel like you have to admit it, my dear. Um, I'm used to being the oldest person in the room, except for my idols who are wandering through and signing autographs on their books. So yeah, I don't know what you like to read, Bill. So I don't
Well,
know.
what does he write? Is it
Hmm.
science fiction or?
It is science fiction. It is usually um, a good deal of fantasy sci-fi tech, but well grounded in what science was currently believing at the time. Now,
Hmm.
sometimes he's written a story where discoveries after the story was published kind of spoiled the some of the plot of the story or some of the conditions that the story took place in, but that doesn't really happen that often. Um, if you remember the animated Star Trek,
Hmm.
the slaver weapon episode with the Kazenti,
Hmm.
that was Larry's. He rewrote it from an original story that did not feature Star Trek actors, but did feature Kazenti. Though Kazenti are his invention.
Okay, so that's his creation then.
Mhm. He also wrote at least 3 episodes of Land of the Lost.
Okay.
The one that featured the Civil War soldier with the cannon fighting the Sleestack.
Um, would that been in the later?
It would have been in the first series, not the second
Oh, in the
series.
first series? Okay,
Yeah.
because that's the one I watched. I probably have seen it, but just forgot.
It would have been
And
somewhere in the middle of those 3 seasons.
and apologies to Wesley, you're in Catholic Home for that because I should know it. You know, you got Will and Holly out there, and I've seen it. I actually got one lined up to air next week, but I think it's the Chaka's first episode.
And he gave permission for one of his stories to be adapted for, I think it was a new Twilight Zone episode.
Oh,
And
okay.
it, it was called Inconstant Moon, and it starred the lead actor from Family Ties, who is
Michael
also
J. Fox.
no the older gentleman, the father.
Oh, Michael Gross.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was also in Tremors, and as I
Hmm.
believe, but yeah, that was a very good adaptation of the story.
Okay.
Uh, uh,
So he's kind of a screenwriter in
no,
essence.
no.
No.
He's a he's a science fiction. Well, I hate to say it with him not here to defend himself, but
Hmm.
adventure writer uh, who has sold a few stories to uh, TV productions.
So you say the Kazinti was his creation, and that
Exactly. They are major characters in some of his other books.
okay, that's what I was going to ask if he had other stories with them
Hmm.
other than the slaver weapon.
Hmm.
Okay,
Um, okay,
I might have checked that out.
Carol, should I do it? I'm tempted I'm tempted to give him ring world here. Um, now this is there's a lot of other stuff that came first, but my introduction to Larry was a novel called Ringworld, which is about an artificial planet the size of Earth's orbit, 1 million miles across, with walls 1,000 miles high on each edge to keep the atmosphere from spilling over. And it's spinning at 770 miles per second to give it one Earth gravity just from the centripetal force. And it wasn't built by people or humans. It was discovered by an alien race who hired two humans, a Kazenti, and a three-legged, two-headed creature called a puppeteer, a sentient alien, not some kind of monster or anything, um, to go and explore and find out what it was and if it was a threat to the puppeteers who were kind of paranoid and did not react well to threats. It's a basically it's a quest story. If it were fantasy, it would be a standard quest story where the party has got together, they're sent off to the location and set to explore what if it were not thousands and thousands and thousands of times larger than the planet Earth, a dungeon. And they only get to explore a teeny tiny bit of it before they manage to find a way to escape and get home. There are sequels, lots of sequels, and there are other books that tie into the entire thing. This is just one teeny tiny corner of Larry Niven's known space series, and that's not the only sort of series that he's got. Larry likes to think big, and he's very good at it. And I will say if uh, if you find his writing not to your liking, I will be very surprised. And I will apologize for recommending him, but I don't think that's ever going to be necessary.
Yeah, I'm kind of anything Edgar Rice Burroughs ever done. So I'm big on John Carter. I'm all those series, Princess of Mars, and that. So I probably would like him.
Well, it's like that, but it's set in the future and not Civil War era.
Hmm.
So it's not exactly John Carter, but it has familiar tropes of, hey, Here's an alien who turns out to be an ally. Here's an alien that turns out to be an adversary. Here's something weird that just happens to be part of the environment that we're going to have to figure out how to deal with. And let's just go have an adventure.
Well, I kind of like things as let's put it this way. I'm kind of selective when it comes to science fiction because I know um, you can do anything you want and make up any world you want,
Mm-hmm.
and all the logistics and everything is whatever comes from your imagination. So to a certain degree, I like that. But if it gets too far out and if it gets unbelievable,
Mm.
then you lost me.
Well,
So having said that, I
the,
will take certain I've liked certain books by certain science fiction authors, but I don't like everything that they do because this one here makes more sense and kept my interest or what have you. It's like I was watching Star Trek tonight, the original series, before I came backstage for Stupid O'Clock,
mhm,
and they had the episode "The Savage Curtain"
yes,
that starred Abraham Lincoln and all that,
Colonel
and
Green and Genghis Khan and
Genghis Khan and
I
the
forget who the fourth
Klingon.
one was. Oh, the Klingon. Yeah, okay.
They had the Klingon, and then well, anyway, um, and you think, okay, well, they're taking people out of time from both American history or world history as far as Earth goes, and then from other planets as far as Klingon and uh, uh, planet Vulcan, things like that.
I've
Getting a little on the edge, but
I've,
then
I've got to explain this one to Carol. Um, Stupid O'Clock. Yes, that is the show that Last Man Standing is an after show for. Stupid O'Clock is, uh, imagine going to a convention and the panels are over for the night and the room parties are going on and you've got a bunch of friends you meet up in a hallway or in the lobby or whatever, and you're talking about all the stuff that you really found fascinating about the convention or just anything about fandom or even ordinary life that is just fun. And you go on and on and on, and like the Niven chat room, topic drift is a definite thing. So everything kind of is mutable and mobile. So yeah, Stupid O'Clock is a thing, and it's a show that is really fun. Um,
yeah, we started out talking about volcanoes and we ended up talking about corn.
yeah,
So, see
exactly.
what you missed, Carol?
What did I
If
say?
you,
Topic drift. Yeah,
yeah,
uh, and ghosts and whatnot in between. So
yeah,
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 and this has been going on for almost 2 years now, isn't it?
yeah. Started in 2020.
Yeah. Um,
I
and
caught your
basically,
shows probably 7 or 8 episodes in before I first started seeing them, but yeah,
yeah, Stupid O'Clock started off as a reaction to not being able to have live conventions and having to have virtual conventions. So we had um, after hours convention chat, basically. And after Stupid O'Clock, we'd have an after show, which may or may not have been recorded. And then people got conservative and started wanting to go to bed after Stupid O'Clock. I go, I'll host the after show if you don't mind. And Joe Dog says, yes, go right ahead. Break your neck, okay? Uh, so I did, and now, uh, Stupid O'Clock is still ongoing and a very, very fascinating um, uh, set of conversations about anything and everything under the sun. And Last Man Standing is the uh, the after show of Stupid O'Clock, loosely connected, but not always. Um we can go off on our own way. We have many a
Drift
time.
even further.
Uh-huh. We've gone off in way into left field, and we've gone off into the cornfield a few times too. So these things, they do happen.
Well,
It's not,
people, when they ask me, they say, "Why do you call it stupid o'clock?" And I'm like, "Good question."
takes
Now
place at
I know the origin, and the best way I can describe the origin is in two words: COVID relief, because that's why it got started. Because
exactly. Yeah.
this was COVID relief for people who were jonesing because they couldn't get to the conventions or get to different shows and
Mhm.
things, and everybody was stuck at home, and BKM was on every frickin' day of the week back then.
The man needs to slow down before he has a breakdown. I tell you.
Well, it wasn't me, but I think there were a few people that were running some little games by saying, what month will he have his nervous breakdown and just lose it entirely.
No, that's not going to happen. Cookie, what
So
you do?
anyway,
No, Carol. Yes, indeed, indeed. How lovely to go to a new panel discussion at a sci-fi con late at night while isolating with COVID. Um, think of Stupid O'Clock and Last Man Standing as a COVID coping mechanism.
mm,
It's we couldn't go to conventions, so we're going to have a convention live streaming, and that has been done several times when entire conventions were live streamed. Well, we are the after hours, late night room party, consuite party, hallway party, lobby party for a convention that never started and won't ever end. Um, that's a good way to describe us.
so Stupid O'Clock was the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. This is the Last Man Standing would be considered the Tomorrow Show with Tom Snyder because he was the one that was always real late afterwards.
No, no, no. This would be the late, late show with Arsenio Hall. Thank you. Uh,
Oh, this is way before Arsenio now. Come on.
yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Dead
Last
dog.
Man Standing is the dead dog party for Stupid O'Clock. Yes, that's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah.
Not to be confused by Joe Dog.
Oh no. Dead dog party is the after the convention is shut down. Everybody that's still there on Sunday gets together. The con staff, the guests whose planes don't leave until Monday, the people that know there's going to be a really cool party Sunday night or after the convention. Uh, that's called the Dead Dog, and
Mhm.
it's pretty much where not only can anything happen, but a lot of things are required to happen,
Mm.
but it's all fun. Like all the kegs have to be emptied. Um, all the boxes of wine have to be emptied. All the mixers have to be emptied. If you don't drink alcohol, you can help us put away the 7 Up and Canada Dry and whatever. It's just nobody wants to take the this stuff home. It's just it, and there's a penalty for having um, kegs that are unemptied returned, as Joe Dog found out this past year. He wound up having a party to empty 2 or 3 kegs that were left over from another thing, and
Kind of reminiscent of our Thanksgiving and Christmas at our family.
mhm.
We come loaded up to the gills with food and drinks and desserts and everything else, and then when it's time to leave, well, here, wrap this stuff up. Oh, no, no, I'm not taking it back home with me.
Yeah, really. This is this is where you get this is where you give away all the leftovers.
Mhm.
Indeed.
And what we do, which is ingenious and
Yep.
and
Yeah, but
I do,
Carolyn, you
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 know,
you you've stopped drinking now. I thought. Not to be rude about it. I thought you were um, giving it up for Lent, and Lent went on for a long, long time, um, basically. But no, and yeah, Bill. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go right ahead.
oh no, I was just going to say all the food and everything that we had left over from Christmas. We have about 4 or 5 people, two of which live right there near Jenny. Um, when I lived in the yellow house across the street from her, but then a couple of the other ones, well, one of them is Laura's dad's neighbor, and then there's one other. And we get up little kind of care packages of food and stuff, and then we call them up and, hey, you gonna be up for a minute? Just come to the door, and I'm gonna hand you something, and then I'll walk away and
Well,
give them something to eat.
convention consuites do something like that on Sunday night when the convention is closing down. It's like y'all come in, pack up whatever you want out of what's left. Otherwise, it goes in a dumpster. And take it home with you, but make sure that you eat it or drink it or whatever within just a very few short days because it has not been refrigerated while it's been sitting on the tables waiting for people to come and pick it up and eat it right that moment during the 3 days of the convention. And none of this stuff has been sitting there for 3 days. It's like this is the stuff that they had ready for anybody to eat on Sunday as the convention was winding down. And you got all these leftovers, and you just you go. If you are not intending to take home leftovers, you pig out as much as you can to help them out so that there's not that many leftovers for people to come and collect and take home. And then this doesn't apply too much to the bar suite, except for kegs of beer and boxes of wine,
Yeah.
which have been opened. Those have a limited shelf life, and actually there's a penalty for returning kegs that are not empty.
Well, I was
So
going to say, you could make a very good name for your convention by buying packs of styrofoam uh,
Oh,
styrofoam containers.
so
And
Lent went on for 30 years, I
yeah,
see. Okay.
hey Carol, you see what I was drinking compared to what Dan was drinking. My Mexican Coke, that's about as powerful as it gets. I tell everybody I stopped drinking when I turned 21. So, and literally that's what I did. But
I'm sorry, Bill. I've seen you on real caffeine and real sugar. Uh, I'll take the canoe beer any day over your Coca-Colas. I mean, woo, you on real caffeine? Ooh, that's like
it was just that Sprecher's root beer, that caffeinated root beer. I don't know what it was. And of course, first time, it's like, who
well,
ever heard of caffeinated root beer before? But well,
it ta- it tasted good, I'm sure, but
it was good. It was a good flavor. Well,
you
they
were
Sprecher's
monumentally hyper.
they come out of Wisconsin, and the the bottles that the root beer will. I was drinking one last night, but of course not caffeinated. Uh, and I got a couple of the low-cal Sprecher's root beers in there for Laura, and those are hers. But this Sprecher's root beer comes in little brown bottles, and they are for because Sprecher's makes beer, and they bottle beer and they age it with honey, the same they do with their soda. So it's very good, but boy, that was the first time and ever had caffeinated root beer. But no, I get thinking about all the food from those cons that you have, thinking about, you know, getting styrofoam containers and putting together little meals and stuff, and taking them to your local, you couldn't take them to a food pantry or anything, but like
No,
homeless shelters, some
of
places like
course.
that.
Believe me, if I drank enough of those things, I'd probably be homeless. I'd be so hyper I wouldn't be able to keep a job. Well,
Well, I wished I had them when I was on my 7-day swings. That would have kept me awake a whole lot longer. And I
night
used to
shift would
drink
have
the
been
Coke back
easier.
then.
Yeah, night
Yep.
shift would have been a whole lot and a whole lot less destructive to your stomach than drinking um, basically firehouse coffee for 20
Oh,
years. Um,
I had a thermos that my wife would get ready for me, and that would get me through most of the night just with the Folgers. But yeah, even after a while, after so many cups of coffee, it starts having the reverse effect of coffee, and I
mhm.
start getting tired, and I'm wired and tired,
At the
Dan,
same time.
at the same time.
Hmm.
And so I've seen a lot of people get this way as well, and
Welcome
I'll,
to third shift, folks.
oh well, I don't get the Jimmy legs like they do. A lot of them that I've seen, but I do. It's just like, if I would go hold my phone in my hand, it would be like this.
Mhm.
They're just way
I've,
too wired, and that's
I've
rough on your system.
I've found that too much coffee gives me digestive problems,
Hmm.
and I might have to make a quarter-mile dash to the restroom. So I try not to drink too much coffee while I'm at work.
I used to drink about 5 or 6 cups a day throughout the day, and I now drink 1 cup in the morning, and that's it. And sometimes I don't even drink the whole cup of coffee. It really depends. There's so much. Well, I think I was telling you last night that I got down to 200 pounds, and I'm 6'2". So I've lost 100 pounds inside of about 14 months. And it was really nothing as far as changing my food, no special diet. It was everything in moderation. I didn't cut out sweets. I didn't cut out coffee. I didn't cut out this or that. About the only thing I did cut out was about 80% greasy food,
Mhm. Yeah.
or, and about 75% fried food, which I'm seriously thinking about investigating on buying an air fryer for some of the foods that I do like to make. I used to use a Fry Daddy back in the day when I could eat it before my ulcers and everything.
Hmm.
And now I have to put them on a cookie sheet in the oven. And of course, they still can get greasy, but then they don't taste as good either, you know.
I've read very good reviews of those air fryers.
Hmm.
So I've been tempted to get one for us as well. I don't know if my wife would take a while to get used to it, but you know, if she's willing to try it, I'm willing to buy it. You know.
Hmm.
Um,
Thank you, Carol. I on the weight. I'm
yeah.
bone on both of my knees, and that's part of my disability. And the other part is heart issues and pulmonary embolisms, and the list is long and too boring for this show. But um, taking the weight off has made a world of difference.
Right.
And I'd say I don't care how you do it. If you could take it off, be healthy, even get down. I mean, about 3 years ago, this was my goal weight then.
I'll, I'll be right.
Now, okay. And, but now, um, I'd probably like to get maybe another 20 pounds down. Um, if I even stay at this and kind of maintain it, no matter whether I'm at 200 or 180 or whatever, 190, what I don't care. If it's something that's maintainable, I've been down a lot before, back in the 90s, and this is when I first started having the ulcer problems and acid reflux and you name it. And I couldn't keep anything down. It would be coming back up within 20 minutes and a half an hour. And that's just not a fun way to lose weight. So it it was one of those situations that, yeah, I got really skinny at that time, but when I started getting on track with the ulcers and the reflux and all that, then all of a sudden I start putting the pounds back on again. So, but anyway, yeah, I had surgery, Carol, back in 1979. I was a junior in high school. Tell you how old I am. I tore all the cartilage and ligaments from around my kneecap. So I went a whole summer with a huge cast from my upper thigh to my ankle on my left leg. And so walking on crutches all summer long. And of course, you start favoring your other leg. Well, then eventually it started going bad. And that was the beginning of all my problems with my knees and legs and everything. I got one ankle that's juded out sideways, and I'm a hot mess. I'll just say, but I don't know. I just um, and not drinking alcohol is great, but you can gain the weight by drinking the tea and soda pop and everything else too. Though that's the unfortunate thing, and that's what I used to
Oh,
love to drink a lot.
Southern sweet tea will add pounds to your waistline in a
Oh
heart.
yeah. And even a year ago, I was drinking the Milo's sweet tea, and then it started affecting me in other ways that were not
Oh, let me get rid of
anything that I want.
the
Oh,
bot.
yeah, get rid of the bot, late night bot. And
I think they're slowing down because it's colder in Russia right now.
yeah, well, maybe it's time for them to go to bed or something. But we need a graphic for either your show or Stupid O'Clock that every time somebody gets rid of a bot, that it flashes up from the 1978 Superman movie where they launch the three villains in the Forbidden Zone and they go flying off.
You know,
What?
I don't know that that's possible for a live streaming. Um, we could do it as one of the recorded clips in the brand section, like um, it's almost the end of the show sort of clip
Oh yeah.
that Joe Dog's got. But to be able to use that over and over again, you've got to get out of the chat and go to a different directory and scroll down to whatever video clip it is you want to play. It would be nice to be able to have that automated, so when you banned a bot, it would automatically play that. But I don't think
What about if it was like a GIF or something instead of
it'd
a
be
video?
it'd be the same thing. You'd have to go to a
Really?
different directory and scroll down to find it, click on it, and then go back to the chat.
Well,
Uh,
if you got it in like you and Carl were talking to me about your hotkeys, then you'd be able to pull it up right away. You wouldn't have to scroll it if you had it in your hotkeys, would you?
I'm not sure how hotkeys work in StreamYard. Carl and I talk about OBS, which is like uh, it's a separate program that you can do video and audio in, and it acts like a virtual camera for StreamYard.
Hmm.
So you've got all this stuff over here, and you got your StreamYard over here, and they work together. And Skunk is really good at it, so he could probably explain a lot of stuff to me if I
Uh,
decided to go that far. I mean, he's good. Uncle Carl is really good. The two of them together could probably teach me a lot more than what I know right now. But you um, at the moment, it's not worth my while to take the time out from the stuff that I've really got to do when I'm not online and learn all this new stuff.
well,
That would be fun, but it's
yeah, it
not
it
totally necessary.
because it's the first thing I think of anytime you think of send them off. You're talking about the band hammer, and I think about the famous scene with Marlon Brando up
Hmm.
there talking about it, and they're all three of them are standing in the little uh, section there,
Hmm.
and then you see that light come down, and then it's just like they're trapped behind glass, and it's flipping up,
Hmm.
and that's the part I think of right there.
I remember it well.
And that one character on there, the great big brutish guy, I can't think of his name, the one that couldn't talk, he does kind of look Russian.
Hmm. He does indeed. Um, and you're right. I can't remember. I can't remember
It was General
the
Zod, Ur, Ursa, yeah, Ursa,
Ursa. Ursa was the
the woman.
sadistic lady.
Yeah. And I cannot
Um,
think of the other guys. He was more or less like the one
the
that did
muscle.
all the
Yeah,
muscle. Yeah.
he's the one that go tear him up, and he
Yeah.
would.
Well, I might have to play, see if I can get. after the debacle with the other little thing I was briefly involved with. I don't know what I have or don't have in there. I haven't really tried to play with anything on StreamYard. Now, I know, like, at the end of this show, when I leave the studio, instead of just going back down to nothing, it pops up old things that were on there that I think that I could use as a room to do testing out things. And I might see if I can go into Tenor or somewhere to find that GIF, and one that's short enough that nobody could get a strike on or anything like that. But
this is true. This is true. If you want to keep from having a copyright strike, it has to be very short.
Yeah.
Which is why I went ahead and wrote the opening theme and the closing theme for the credits for this show. And why Joe Dog asked me to write the opening theme for Stupid O'Clock, which plays right after the Star Spangled Banner. And originally he wanted a non-copyright strike version of Three Blind Mice from the Three Stooges, and I go, I can't do that. I mean, I know what you want, I just don't have the ability to do it. So here's something that I made up that will not get you a copyright strike. So, and then when we did the virtual Hallowcon, he asked for a combination of the fanfare from 2001 Space Odyssey, also
yeah.
I've had too much to drink to be able to pronounce that correctly tonight. And I believe it was part of the William Till
overture.
Yeah, from Rossini. And both of those are well in public domain, but he still got a copyright strike over both of the pieces of classical music that were over 200 years old.
Let me guess, because of who was playing the music.
No. It didn't have anything to do with who was playing it. It was recognizable.
Oh. See, that shouldn't have anything to do with anything.
Well, he beat the copyright strike by saying, "Look, this is classical music. It's been around since the 1800s. Bugger off. This is public domain."
I think half of these things are just phantoms. And I describe it that way because I get this, your post goes against community standards and that, and things will pop up. And it's always the same thing. There for a little while, I was posting cartoons in the Everyday Saturday group from watchcartoonsonline.com, which was a Facebook page.
I am very familiar with them.
Yeah. Oh, they got, anything and everything.
They got tons of stuff. I love it.
Now, every once in a while, some of their stuff gets taken down.
Yeah.
But then later on, you'll see it a little bit later. But so anyway, I thought about fighting it because it's like, oh, I'm just sharing something that somebody else already put out.
Yep.
It's nothing more than that. And I got about 3/4 of the way through one to do it, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do this because I don't think these things, as many as I've gotten in the last year and a half, maybe, well, probably close to 2 years now, nothing's ever happened. And I'm telling you, I've gotten a couple hundred of them. And then what they'll do is, of course, they'll do about 4 or 5 at a time. Of course, it's always something from about 8 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And when I saw that it was only coming from this one thing, I thought, something stinks here. Something's not right. And I remember we were talking about one night, I'm thinking it might have been on Stupid O'Clock, but I was thinking it was in the green room because I know Brian was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh no, you gotta fight it. You gotta go through, and because they'll shut you down." And that 2 years.
They haven't yet, huh?
No, no. Hey, if they do, they do, and then I'll say, "Okay, I was wrong. They shut me down." No, I don't. I think that, like I said, I think they're phantoms. I think they're bots.
I
I
think they're
think
bots. Yes, I think you're right.
and what Skunk has said about them and said about ignoring them, I think that's the best thing to do. And so I'll continue to do that. But yeah, I know on certain things you got to be really okay. Well, I'll give you an example for this. Ryan Permison has a podcast with his friend Dave Adams, real nice guy. He's a friend of mine too. It's called Geek at Birth.
Yeah.
And it's a sequel to, I'm wanting to say Nerd Culture, but I could be wrong. So if Ryan,
that's another one of his shows. Yeah.
right, yeah. And that's my first time I was ever interviewed by anybody was on the Nerd Culture, and but anyway, Geek at Birth, Ryan and Adam, or Ryan and Dave, Adams is his last name, but Ryan and Dave contacted me about doing commission for him. I said, okay, what do you want? He says, well, can you do kind of a caricature of Dave and I? I said, okay, yeah, I probably could. Send me some good photos of yourself, several different angles, and not pixelated, please. He says, well, there's a catch. Okay. He says, well, do our heads, looking like how we look now, but our bodies as babies or toddlers. I'm like, what? He says, yeah, Geek at Birth. Oh, okay. So,
okay, I get it. Yeah.
So when I do something like that for someone, and I did some of Cindy Kep's characters from 3 of her books.
Yeah.
And that were never drawn before. And she had Matt Ostrom draw one thing for her. And then I think he got busy with another obligation or something. But anyway, she came to me, and what I did with Cindy was the same as what I did with Ryan and Dave. I would constantly, I'd ask a bunch of questions till the point of being annoying, just to try to get inside their head.
You can, yeah.
I want to draw for you what you want. What you, if you were the one drawing it, if you had the ability to just do it yourself, I want to do that. Yeah. So I would draw some mock-ups, show it to him, Facebook Messenger, and this is how we kept in contact. When, matter of fact, Ryan had a little messenger link between me, him, and Dave, and so I wouldn't have to message him individually, kind of like our stupid o'clock link,
Yeah.
and on there the messenger thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, and he'd say what he'd liked of them and say what he didn't like, or if he had any other things. So he wanted me to put him like in onesies. Dave, I put in like a Pampers diapers type diapers, and a shirt that was a little bit on the too short side, like how some
Yeah.
toddlers wear and that. But then,
That's a standard cartoon trope too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Ryan in a onesie. And anyway, he said, Bill, he said, can you do some like stuff from Batman or Superman, Spider Man, Star Wars, this type of thing and that. And
Now you're getting into copyright territory.
I said, legally, no. I said, but what I can do is what other people do to use a loophole to get around it. You kind of draw things that if I drew this for you and say, what do you think it is? Your first thought, you're going to say, oh, that's a Batman logo. But it's officially not a Batman logo.
Hmm.
It could be a photograph of a Halloween bat on a Halloween postcard or whatever.
Yes.
So you got it, you know, and it pretty much how things were parodied by Mad Magazine and various, you know, Cracked and various other things without
Yeah.
getting into the copyright, you know. But anyway,
Yeah, but they get around that by classing it as a parody or um oh, what is the other term? Um, not sadistic. Although
sarcastic.
some of them really were, yeah, sarcastic as well. Yeah. Uh, um, a not, not quite a review, but a social commentary on pop culture.
Yeah.
Uh, you can get away with that. If
Well, and a parody is probably about the best way to describe it because you know you think, okay, how does Weird Al get away with
oh,
doing his versions of the exact same things?
thank you for being with us, Carol. Thank you
Yeah.
very.
Have a good night, Carol. Nice meeting you.
It's and anytime you're able to come back, we'd be glad to have you.
Hmm.
We'd even be glad to have you on screen. I mean,
Hmm.
got to have a camera, but uh, yeah. The social commentary or the parody fair use. That's a real thing.
Right.
Uh,
And that's what I told them. I said, the way you want me to draw you with your adult heads, but toddler bodies and that, I said, in a sense, that is a parody. So I said, I can work my way around a few things. So I made some toys and um, Ryan's onesie almost kind of looked like a Batman style onesie and different little things that were in the picture. And this what
yeah,
they were using it for cover photo for the Geek at Birth Facebook page, and then but they were also using it for the banner for the beginning of their podcast.
yeah. That,
And
that that's wonderful, actually.
yeah,
Uh,
so and which I I have to watch most everything on reruns.
Yeah.
It's like I tell people, well, if I'm not on the show, it seems like it's the rerun that I'm watching it on because
Mhm.
I'm so busy with things. Now I'm down to one commission, which is like, oh, this is great. I'm on the last one. And then I'm wanting to do a little sketch. I said that my only New Year's resolution this year was to get back into drawing new sketches again to put out, like it would be fresh content in a sense. I was doing a lot of the last half of last year of re-showing my older sketches,
Yeah.
only because I had so darn many of them, and a lot of people were
Well,
seeing them for
yeah,
the
but
first time.
yeah, that's the thing. Um, you have an enormous back catalog
Oh
of
yeah.
stuff that you have done over the years, and they're all excellent work. So you shouldn't have uh, a s- the slightest moment's hesitation for reposting them on Facebook or whatever. I mean, seriously, uh, you're you're you are a very very talented artist, and just because you didn't create the characters in the drawings that you do does not mean jack shit. You have done your interpretation of
Hmm.
these classical um, cartoon characters, which is well within the fair use doctrine as I understand it.
Hmm.
So you shouldn't get any copyright strikes over that whatsoever.
Oh no,
You're
no,
you're
and
not
and thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it a lot. I
well. No,
and I see others, a lot of well-known and not so well-known artists, and um, do the same thing. Some of these actually they do commissions actually recreating covers that somebody would want, and it's it's amazing how some of these people are. I'm like, oh man, these guys are good. They redid this Ditko cover of Spider-Man from '66, and I could swear it was Ditko that did it, or what,
well,
Oh,
that's the thing, Bill. That's the thing.
mm-hmm,
You are the Alex Ross of interpreting uh, newspaper comics and comic book characters and animated characters. Um, you're not claiming them as your own. You're going, hey, this is my version of what this really really neat, influential animated or whatever cartoon character was or is,
mm-hmm.
and you do it so well. I mean, seriously, you
Well,
are
thank you.
one of the most awesome artists that I know. So and I know quite a few. So um,
Well,
that comment that compliment was not meant lightly. I mean, seriously, you are that good. So give yourself credit. You
I'm a
know.
little bit better since I got glasses because that was really bugging me.
Well,
And
you've been working so hard at this stuff for a long time now.
well,
Uh,
I've had astigmatism forever, and there was a
well,
point where, well, I stopped wearing glasses when I was a teenager in high school, and really didn't have problems again up until just a few years ago. So, but once again, a few years younger than you, but I ain't not any spring chicken either by any means. And
this is true. This is
part
true.
parts give out on you or start to lag on you a little bit. So,
Mhm.
I got big lights that look like sunlight, and then, of course, glasses and everything else to aid me on that. But I mean, I I only draw what I like, and I do have a couple original characters that are my own. I haven't done anything. I've drawn them. I posted a couple of them, and do I ever want to do a comic book or comic strip or something with these characters down the road? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't really care right now. I just say, well, I got two characters: a scarecrow named Elmo the Scarecrow, and uh, Corny the Crow, which is his little antagonizing best friend.
Mhm.
Um, that kind of gets him into trouble more than he does anything else. But he's kind of a good guy inside, and I like to maybe do something with him sometime down the line. Right
Oh,
now, I don't have a clue. So it's like, why should I do it now if I don't have a clue right now? Why wait until I get inspired in one way? That's like writing.
yeah.
I don't. I
You
never.
you need a gag writer, basically.
Yeah.
Uh, someone to write a script for you to illustrate. And I'm sure that among our many friends out there, um, if they knew your original characters, they would
Mhm.
be able to come up with, "Hey, this is a great joke. Let's do this." That sort of thing. And you could do the artwork, all the artwork, and the lettering, and the the layout of the different panels and everything else. So I know you can do this because I've seen a lot of your work. So
Well,
I've got confidence in you, but that spark to start doing that has not happened yet.
yeah. Like I mean, right now I got the lighter in my hand and I'm going,
Yeah,
like, come on, and it's just not there yet. And and
the flint's
and
ready. You just got to give it time to dry out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I got to maybe I need a new flint, or maybe I need some more, uh, Ronson in it or
Yeah.
something. But the thing about it is, I'm in no hurry. And you say, "What do you mean you're in no hurry? You're going to be 60 years old in July." And well, no, but I'm in no hurry. I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't need to have.
It's
Uh,
not something you want to turn into an income stream. It is something that you would do as a project for the love of doing it.
yeah, and if somebody says, "Hey, you got to do this," or I have, if Ron Ferdinand or John Rose or somebody come up and said, "I really like that. Yeah, I've been reading some of your things," and or
Excuse me.
Mike Wilkie or somebody, but yeah, it just maybe I might do something with it then, or
Well,
maybe I
yeah,
say, well, hey, you know what? Thanks. I'm glad you got faith in me on that, but yeah, I'm just going to keep it like this and just share
yeah.
it for free. And
Anything you want to do with what you do needs to be on your schedule.
mm,
If you don't want to turn it into something that has a deadline and you've got to do
oh
it
yeah,
by such and such a date, every month, every week, every whatever period it comes out to be, you don't have to be obligated to do that because you do what you do for fun and as a challenge to your own talent to be able to draw this,
well,
that, or the other thing.
like anything else, it's something to occupy your mind. It's you're using your brain, your hand-eye coordination certain way, and
And there is no higher there's no higher aspiration than to be able to do what you want to do for the love of doing it.
well, hey, it's good to keep in practice to be able to do it
Yeah,
10 years from now, because
it's exactly what
we're getting older, Dan, and by golly, things just don't work quite the same way they used to work. And yeah, but it. Laura's 87-year-old dad, when he he has short-term memory loss,
Mhm.
and we think, well, I'll just leave it at that for right now. But
Mhm.
when he's trying to remember something and he can't remember it, he'll go and he'll stumble a couple times, and then he'll stop, and then you hear him say A B C. Dachshunds. That's the breed I was going to tell you about. I
Exactly,
used to own a
exactly,
dachshund,
exactly. Yeah.
and that's how, I kid you not. That is literally how he remembers things. He
Well,
just goes through the alphabet, and it's something in his brain that maybe he had crafted and perfected decades and decades ago is still in there, but it takes that spark, it takes that flint to
yeah.
to you
It
know
it's
get it going again.
what's oh it's a mnemonic to help spark your memory
Hmm.
towards something else. Yeah. There's a set phrase or a set uh combination of things that you can go through a list of that will prompt your memory for what it is that you were trying to think of in the first place.
Hmm.
And that's the way that works.
And
Uh,
that's why, well, my mom used to do word search. My grandmother crossword
exactly.
puzzles. Laura does crossword puzzles, and I help her because she says, well, she goes, Bill,
Oh
what if it's hereditary?
Lord, I'm glad we're within 10 minutes into the show. I'm about to nod out
Yeah,
here,
yeah, same
and
here.
it's not because you're putting me to sleep. It's because I've been awake almost all day,
Yeah, I was going
and
to say far too
it
long.
it's way after midnight for me. So, um, okay, we got like 5 minutes left. Um, Bill, if you ever get a contract to do the artwork for something like, say, a Dick Tracy cartoon series, I will write the scripts for you to use.
Okay.
I volunteer. I could do that. And I wouldn't have to do that damn much research because I grew up with it. Um, be prepared for a lot of Moon Girl. Um,
I'm in total awe of people that I used to read comics, and it goes the same way with comic strips, where the artists and the writers and that they're all the same people. Like George Perez is one of them I can
mhm,
think of, or
yeah,
Neil Adams
yeah,
and that. And but at the same time, when you take um, Kurt Swan, who was the epitome of Superman artists in the 60s and 70s, for
yeah,
me at least, backed with Dick Giordano stories, or um, Julie Shorts, something like that. I mean,
yeah,
those are great tag teams. So I.
yeah, yeah. When you can pair up a writer with an artist,
Hmm.
and both of them understand what the thing is that they're trying to do, they get the concept, and they're willing to go through with all the work it takes to make sure that everything fits with. well, I hate to say fits with previous continuity or fits with the continuity that they've established.
Right.
That's a
And
glorious. That's a glorious thing. That's a partnership that is really going to not only make records but break records.
well, Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers that teamed up for all the untold stories of the Batman back in the late 70s, early 80s was wonderful. And
Hmm.
then you think, okay, well, then one person that did it all. My first thought is Frank Miller. I
Hmm.
mean, the time that Ryan was on the show, and I said, "What do you think about Frank Miller?" First thought comes to your mind. I thought for sure he was going to say The Dark Knight Returns, and then he talks about a movie instead,
Yeah. Yep.
which is good.
Yeah.
That's a different perspective, and that,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
but man,
Uh,
everything Miller did, and he did both ends, and that's high praise for me to see somebody who could do both of it because I know I can't,
well, that's the thing that
or I can't do it good.
Ryan was dipping back into a larger exploration of the artist's talent,
Hmm.
and that is a very good thing that a lot of people who are not necessarily the folks that would read the credits on stuff would not particularly be aware of, except through um, what they've seen happen, and then you go back. Oh well, yeah, this guy did this, and he wrote the script for this with this artist to illustrate it, and then they did this other stuff, and you know the accommodations are damn near infinite. But as far as classic comics and newspaper strips are concerned, there are a a few very uh, recognizable partnerships who not only had the story down, but their partner had the art down, and it
Hmm.
was just blow your mind right out of the water. Beautiful stuff. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
all those stories by the Phantom
yeah.
when Lee Falk
Oh, yeah. God, that
first
was
did it.
beautiful. That
God,
was beautiful. I remember when I was reading those in the Sunday comic strips from um, oh Lord, it was one of the papers out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Um, and then as a companion piece, there were the Sunday funnies from the Atlanta Journal Constitution, and different comics, but same level of quality in the stuff in that. And I'm
mhm.
going, oh man, if people wrote TV shows like this,
Yeah. And right now, my friend Jeff Weigel, who does the Phantom Sunday strips now, um, he's had several different ones, and how they sometimes used to go back and talk about the Phantom of the 17th century or
yeah.
18th century or whatever.
Well,
And
that's one of the things Lee Falk did was go back
right, right.
and dip into his mythology for
And
the
yeah, Jeff
continuing
Weigel
character.
a couple months ago just wrapped up a wonderful, wonderful storyline about that. And that tickles me. And what you said about steampunk earlier kept bringing to mind the Batman Gotham by Gaslight
Yes, indeed.
miniseries, which
That's a very good example.
Mezco action figures that do the little they're 7-inch action figures with real cloth costumes and that. I don't have one around me that I can pull right now, but they actually are having it's you can join a wait list, and I think it's in the end of May, 1st of June. They're having a Batman Gotham by Gaslight um, figure that they're putting out that is dead on to the comic, and the people who wrote and drew the comic, their names escape me at the moment, but all the gadgets. I mean, if you love the steampunk, if you love Conan Doyle stuff, because this is supposed to have been the time period when
Yeah.
this took
Exactly.
place, um, and you would love this. But there, and but it's just a wait list right now because they haven't released it, but you can get on there, and I know it's going to be a big seller, and you'll see them on eBay go for 3 times the money.
Well, Bill, I've got to ask you, um, if you ever find out the URL, the link to go to some of this stuff, please
Mhm.
do come back to this episode on my YouTube channel and put it in, drop it in the comments for other people to find. And I think that'd be one of the most amazing things that we've ever done for the people that would be watching this some other time. But it's now we've gone 3 minutes over, so
Is
let's.
that all?
Well, yeah,
We're
but
doing good.
I know it's not like 6 hours of watching me sleep,
Right.
which yeah, I deleted that one, folks, but it did happen. 6 hours of show after everybody else noticed that I had gone to sleep in the middle of the chair and nobody could end the show because Joe Dog was not here.
Now, Dan, you got to tell the people that was just the experimental episode of Insomnia Theater that you were going to start for your second show, and it never got past the pilot.
No, that was, we were doing a show and we were doing really great. And I had not had my B12 5-hour energy drink or a
Mm,
cup of coffee. And I straight up nodded off in the middle of asking somebody a question, as I recall.
yeah, and I was there, kept trying to wake you up, and kept sending you messages on Facebook Messenger and that. And I turned around, and then Chris Walker was out there, and I said, "Chris, what are we going to do?" And he says, "Well, I guess I better go." And he threw me under the bus by leaving. I'm like, "Oh no!"
If
And
if I ever go to sleep on one of these streaming shows, the best thing to do is just close out my window and let me sleep because that's all I'm going to do. There's no way to wake me up. You could set off a nuclear weapon in my front yard and the noise would not interrupt my snores, let me tell you.
well, you
Uh,
forget, I have no controls to do anything. Now later on, Joe, of course, after ribbing you about it, he told me, he says, "Well, Bill, why didn't you just message me? I could have came in there and did that." Well, for one, it was so late. Who knows when he would have saw the message, but
Probably about the time I woke up.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah, if I would have had the controls, I would have said, "Okay, guys, well, Dan's in deep thought right now, and we'll continue this next
we'll
week."
just we'll just roll the credits and see you
Yeah.
next week, folks. Captain Kangaroo has left the ark. Okay. Uh, no, seriously. Um, and Bill, I do owe you a great every time you come on the show. We have so much that we can talk about and could talk about with if we had infinite amount of time, we'd just blow every other show out of the water. I tell you.
We'll
Uh,
save it for our next life.
oh Lord, we'll save it for next week. We st- we still got Thursday and next Saturday to go. So
Yeah.
say goodnight, Gracie, and we'll just roll the credits and let Nick Talkert take advantage, take credit for being the hero of the hour for the end credits. And
Yeah. And one thing that Gracie never said was good night, Gracie.
mm,
George would say good night, Gracie. And Gracie would look straight into the camera and she'd just say, good night. So thank you for having me.
it's my
Ex-
pleasure. It's always my
well,
pleasure.
extreme pleasure is always on this end, and thank you for everything that you do, and to Joe Dog and everybody that showed up, almost all the original crew.
Oh yeah,
So,
Stupid O'Clock was awesome. If
yep.
anybody out there has not seen the Stupid O'Clock episode that preceded this Last Man Standing, you are missing out.
Hmm.
We had everybody there but Heather.
Yep, it doesn't happen that often. And
No,
I
it
think I've
doesn't.
only been on one show that Heather's been on.
Yeah,
I
well,
used to see her name in the credits at the beginning all the time. I'm like, who's this Heather?
Heather's got her nursing license, so she is
Hmm. She's
almost
busy.
always at work now.
Yep.
But
Totally
oh,
understand it. Mom was a nurse, so.
we miss her. We miss her. She's got a really sharp sense of humor. Let me tell you, she she will cut you and make you like it, um,
Mm.
which is kind of appropriate being a nurse. But as far as her sarcasm is concerned, yeah, um, you got to give the woman credit. She is a lot smarter than most of us. Um, on that note, let's go to the party or the end credits. And thank you again, Phil, for everything you do and for being here.
Bye, con Dios, amigos. Bye bye.
Good night, folks. Good night, Mrs. McGillicuddy, wherever you are.